Welcome to our quick tutorial on crocheting list view. List views are used to embed on a page like a web part, and it shows one or more views of a SharePoint list. There's multiple ways you can do it. I'll walk through some of the configurations, but just to give you an idea about it, it looks something like this on this page here, where you have a few options at the top. Drop down. See, this is what the drop down looks like. I'll show you that in a little bit, but essentially this is what it looks like, and you can embed this on any page in SharePoint once you have configured it. You can also edit this web part and configure it and make changes through here. But let me show you how to configure one of these list views. So you go down to the list view app component here, and you can see we've got a couple. We can create a new list view component, or we could use one of the existing ones. So we could take a look at an existing one and just walk through some of the details. So give it a definition title. Of course, you see that's what that is over here. And you can decide where to pull the information from. It could be the current site or across into a different site URL. What list do you want to pull from, and then what view you want to use. And you can add multiple views here. So we could add a new view. We can select a view that's already there. In this case, we only have one, but that's okay. We could also do a query. So we could do, closed, inactive. I think there's a products list, so we can use inactive products. And then we could do a thing where we key off the status column. I don't think there was one, but I'll just use the choice column here. Choice column, and I'll do a status equals inactive. Let's do something like that. And then hit OK. And select a view column, so we have to add some columns to that view like this, so we can add some like that, and then that's going to be our source. So you can see the two different sources, list view and query. Now you can show those views if there's multiples. You can show them as tabs or drop downs. You can show the number of items in the view, and then you can enable a preview pane. I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. Toolbar mode is standard or compact. You have a bunch of settings here for the grid itself, enabling pagination, so you can have a number of items per page limit. You can have the grid line showing. You can fix the row height, enable automatic refresh. I like because you can have it refresh automatically every some X number of seconds. And then if you're allowing your users to add new items, you could do that and choose which type of form, typically new experience if you're using modern SharePoint and Office 365. You decide how to launch it in a dialog or otherwise. You could also decide to show or hide custom actions. And there's also conditional formatting, which you could hide or show on that list view. And then we have other action buttons like these email, print, and list settings buttons, and export to Excel. All of those can be hidden through the settings. If I switch back over to the configured list view, you'll see that I have that export to Excel, the list settings, the email, the print buttons right there. Those can all be toggled to be turned off. And you can see the preview option here. I promised I'd show that to you. We're going to show that on the right. You can see this brings up a preview of the item that I've selected over here on the left-hand side, and is showing me the edit mode of that preview. So you can do edit or display. So if I want to do display instead of edit, it's going to show me the display mode of that ticket. So it gives you a way to preview things. But again, that's something you can toggle on or off through here. Again, that is up here. Enable it or disable it. And then beyond that, you really are just talking about how to control the width of the column headers. You can use pixels. In this case, we picked a couple who put 150 in a couple of them, 80 in a different one. You can play around with those settings and see what makes sense. It's just going to lock in that width. But of course, if you're on the list view itself, you can always drag these headers around so you can see how more or less space and get it configured to the way you want it to be looking. And of course, you want to make sure you show that. Within the list view itself, there are options for filtering. So we could filter based on some text and add some other criteria in there. So it looks like two different criteria we could filter on. It can also add in, if we enable that view filtering option, which is on here, I believe it was up here, enable row filtering. We can do something like what you are used to with standard SharePoint, where you can see the list of options and choose which option you want to filter on. So a few settings like that, pretty straightforward. You can play around the settings. It's not going to impact your data. It's just going to give you a way to show it in a different way and put it on a page so you can play around with it, make some adjustments, and then You can come onto your page and see how it looks, do a refresh, and check it out. So check it out, check out the manual, and reach out to us if you have any questions. Thank you.